What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast. And I ran into this article and I thought, well, wouldn't this be an interesting one to talk about? Life insurance CEO says deaths are up 40% among those aged 18 to 64. Huh. And this is 40% over pre pandemic levels. Oh man, I guess I know you guys have a couple guesses as to why this may be. And it's no surprise. And some of this is intended and some of these deaths are unintended. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that the failed policy, right, of those in charge of this crisis that is happening right now has led, unfortunately, to the deaths of many people in terms of if it's related to cardiovascular health, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Cancers and a variety of other things due to the medicine that is still under EUA. And which, if you haven't seen Mr. Joe's podcast with the pristine doctors, I'd highly recommend you watching. It's 6 hours worth of content, which is a lot to digest, but it's highly, highly worth your time. And it's interesting because um, Peter mentioned something very interesting during that interview, and he mentioned, which I need to go look this up. It was a study, or I don't know if it was a study. It was a medicine trial. You know what I mean by medicine, was given to people in Australia. Okay? And in this medicine trial, these people ended up developing, I don't remember if he said HIV or similarities to HIV. So they had like an, uh, um, of, see, and this is why I need to go research it on my own before I go ahead and talk to you guys about it. But this is just to give you a little taste so you can get curious about the information that was disclosed. However, I have a theory, and this is just a theory and nothing else, that what happened in the 80s with, that whole um, health crisis that was led by your current doctor in charge, in command, Mr. Tony, has could have something to do with today's crisis. And where if you keep administering these medicines, maybe you eventually have a serious consequence in the health of individuals where their immune system becomes suppressed. Now, this is just a theory and there's no way to prove it. This is just me thinking. But you're starting to see that a lot of these T killer cells in individuals seem to be at very at smaller or diminished levels after receiving the medicine. And if you compare it with, HIV and etc., you also know that, I believe the CD4 and CD8 cells, which are your T killer cells, are affected, right? And it's what's used as an immune response to kill whatever is coming into your system, a foreign virus or, particle. And so I thought that was very interesting. Anyways, that was a sidetrack besides the point. You guys know how I get on my little sidetracks and start talking about other things. Anyways, highly recommend those podcasts. Anyway, here we also see that these are the highest death rates we've seen in the history of this business, says the CEO from One America. And it's been in operation since 1877. And just to give you a clue into how rare a 40% increase, or, in terms of statistics, how rare it is for something like this to happen. If you know anything about statistics, 1 sigma above, let's say the normal, if you're looking at a bell curve, right? Usually the middle contains around 34, sorry, one half of it is 34 and the other. So 68% is usually where most of the statistics lie, right? Like the average. Once you start going further right or to the left of the curve, you start getting into statistically significant areas. And 1 sigma is basically one, I don't want to say deviation because I don't think that's the correct term, but it's one step, I guess I can call it, from the average. And the further right you go from the curve or further left, it becomes statistically rare, right, for things to happen because it's on the ends of the curves. Here he says a 3 sigma, which is 3 steps away from like the average, is a 1 in a 200-year catastrophe, which would be a 10% increase. Okay? But this is a 40% increase, which is 4 times that. So this is an ultra rare event. And if you want to know exactly what I'm talking about, I would look up what 3 sigma really is in terms of statistical significance. And it'll blow you away what this actually means. But in other ways, this pandemic has caused mental health concerns. You see a lot of young people who have taken their lives or cannot deal with what's going on. And that's a major, major point of emphasis that's not being talked about. Not just young people too, but older adults. And that has led to very, very, very concerning results. So when you look at this, I mean, it's very sad to hear, but it's the reality of the situation. And that's where we stand today. And so let me know your thoughts. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.